Um, how did you find out about Eraserhead, Fahrenheit?
I found out about Eraserhead through Red Letter Media because Jay on that channel is a Lynch fan, and he talked about Eraserhead, and it just sounded very interesting. And that's basically it. And then I just went and watched the film.
What about you, Albania man?
I would say in my case, so my brother used to have a stream group, and they were having like a movie night. And for whatever reason, he decided, oh, let's have a racer just for shits and giggles. When they saw the film, they were just like, oh, what the hell is this? That's how I was first introduced, funny enough.
I see.
Awesome, awesome. I would caution any like fathers, or well, any new fathers or future fathers to be. Um, you will probably don't want to watch this film because it might put you off having a kid. Um,
Yeah. It might make you go. I can't really say the word. It'll just make you, you know.
yeah, it really plays on like every anxiety you could think of, like surrounding like having like a kid to look after. But yeah, I mean we'll talk about all this as we go through it, right?
So I haven't seen any other David Lynch movies. Well, I've seen a little bit of Twin Peaks, but
Yeah,
that
you've seen a Fire Walk with Me, right?
oh yeah,
Which
that
is
that
the
counts.
Twin
Yeah,
Peaks
yeah,
Yeah.
prequel. Yeah.
that um. I mean, none of those were really as weird as this. I mean, like
No.
there were sections which were weird, um, but you could always say like the parts where like most of it was like in the normal world, um, and there were some scenes which were not in the normal world, let's say. And whereas here, um, I think almost all of the movie um, is weird.
Yes.
Yeah. What else did I say? Well, apparently David Lynch, um, um, he had a child at this time, and that child had a something wrong with her feet, and that baby had to have an operation for on its feet. His daughter. So that could have affected this. What else do
Yeah.
I know? Yeah, do I know about the making of the film? Apparently, it took 6 years, and the protagonist here had to like keep this hairstyle for this actor had to keep this hairstyle for 6 years apparently. Um, yeah.
Yes, yes. So do you recognize the do you recognize the actor?
No.
He's a lot
Oh,
younger in this film.
he
Um,
is. I guess I'll give you a hint. It's, the henpecked husband from Twin Peaks, Pete.
Oh, it's him. Okay, okay, yeah,
yeah. He's it just it yeah it just goes to show like how far apart these things are. Like
yeah.
like in this film, he's like kind of like a young guy, and then in Twin Peaks, he's like into his like 50s, like 60s, ish. I believe,
Yeah, I
and he's
believe.
and he's like talking about there being like a fish in the percolator and things.
um, I believe that David Lynch himself was just around 25 years old when he made this. In his 20s anyway.
Yeah,
Uh, um, so somebody left a comment in the chat saying this is one of the weirdest best movies ever.
I agree.
And are you going to um, do a video on The Fly and what? And its filmmaker. He's also kind of weird. I haven't heard about him.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Cronenberg. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I haven't seen The Fly per se, but I've seen a video drum. That movie is fucking weird.
yeah. Y- yeah, the Cronenberg Fly film is very disgusting. um, it's even like it's even grosser than like Eraserhead. But yeah, it is pretty good. Or we could half listen and then watch the original Fly, which is I don't know. It's kind of boring, but it's also quite an old film, so maybe it'll be interesting. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, that'll be kind of interesting to see how
Yeah,
he
they
basically recontextualizes that movie.
yeah they also made or Cronenberg also made a Fly 2 that I haven't watched. But yeah, we can. Yeah, I mean, Cronenberg is an interesting director. Um,
So, according to Wikipedia, this is supposed to be a surrealist horror film. I get the surrealist part, but I don't know. I didn't really. Did you feel like this was a horror film? Um,
a bit.
A bit,
Um,
yeah. I would say in some cases, although it doesn't really scare it doesn't really scare you. It is in some cases kind of terrifying.
um, I guess how long is this film? Let me check. It felt around two
It's
hours.
an hour and a half.
Ah, an
It's
hour
like
and
an
a
hour
half.
20 minutes, so it's not that long.
Not that long, yeah. Um, okay, I guess what else to say? I guess we could describe the plot a little bit. Um,
yes, exactly. So the main character is called Henry Spencer. I think there aren't many like named characters, right? I mean, you wouldn't know his like wife is Mary. Her parents aren't named. You just know them as Mary's parents. And then there's also like other characters. But yeah, anyway, yeah, Henry Spencer. He lives in this like crappy apartment. And he apparently isn't he like a he
printer.
he's yeah, and he has like he has like pens in his like top pocket all the time. Though
Even
don't ever see him go to work at any point. It's always
he's
just
on
him
vacation.
like
He says
yeah
he, he says that
yeah
he's
yeah
on
he's
vacation. Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah yeah. Even though it doesn't feel like it because the world is just so bleak and just so barren and like dead. It's like it's so like even like even at the beginning in like the normal world, like you're asking questions like, why is he going through this like gigantic door? Like, why is everything just like so like awful? Is this the apocalypse? And like everyone is just like trying their best to like pretend that it's like that everything's fine. I don't
I,
know.
for some reason on the wall of his room there's a picture of a nuclear bomb going off, which I'm sure you all
Yeah,
noticed. But I don't know.
yes,
Well, it's not just there. I won't reveal it, but in one of his other works that you may see, there also is depiction of a nuclear bomb as well.
yeah.
So uh, apparently David Lynch has been asked what the meaning of this film is, and he has been pretty cagey about it. Um, I and I don't
it's
know.
his it's his most spiritual film.
Yes.
Yeah, he apparently opened a random page in the Bible, read a verse and got the idea for it, but he doesn't. He claims he doesn't remember what it was that he read. Um, I don't know. It you could. you could say that like it's a bunch of weird shit that doesn't really mean anything in particular if you really wanted
Uh,
to.
I mean, sure, for some scenes perhaps, but I think the whole plot is it does have some meaning to it, even if it is layers and layers
Es-
of esoteric.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
wouldn't say nonsense, but esotericism.
yeah. Overall, apart from some select scenes, or like one scene and maybe some like small elements, um, it's all like it's all like pretty coherent. I think it's relatively like simple. What's being what's being what's being put across, right?
yeah, I
It's
guess.
just like it's just elements of like exaggerated,
Yeah.
or and just sort of skewed, right?
If there's one scene that I couldn't make out, anything out of, other than that it's weird, it's well, first of all, it's we're at the start, like there's the planet and the man on the planet moving the gears or something. Well, at least
Yeah,
that's not very long. But I think that the Eraserhead scene, I guess,
yeah,
th-
yeah,
that
Oh yeah,
doesn't
that one.
really. I don't. I've seen some videos like try to make some sense out of it, but it just felt like it was there because the movie's called Eraserhead. So
yeah.
it
It kind of did. I
Well,
don't. Yeah.
I think it's
I
also
didn't.
there just to provide considering the film is like bleak, to make sort of a dark comedy type of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's lots of comedy elements. I think that section has like the best comedy. It has like the best comedy elements where the boy has Henry's head, and he runs into into like the pencil store or something, and the guy at the counter. I think the guy at the counter is called Paul, because yeah. And so this guy called Paul, he's like constantly ringing the buzzer to try and get the other guy out of his like office or something, and he's just like spamming this buzzer, like it's just going off and on all the time. And then finally he comes out, he comes out of the door, and he like shouts very angrily, um, "Okay, Paul." And it's kind of hard to explain why it's funny, but it's just it's just like that how annoying it would be if somebody was just like was just constantly ringing a bell at you. you, it's probably not like, and it's probably not the first time this has happened either. Um,
it sort of felt maybe because the whole movie's in black and white. It sort of felt like something out of a silent film comedy where
yeah,
like the characters move a lot around because of the lack of sound, even though it's not a silent scene. Um,
but I agree that whole segment doesn't really add anything. I mean, it's weird. Um, the sound's really good. Everyone's acting is pretty good. But it doesn't really mean anything to the rest of the film. I don't think.
Yeah,
It's just oh, we have his head, now we're coring it and we're turning it into Eraserheads, right? And uh, and then we cut back, and it's fine because Henry is he's still in bed and he was dreaming maybe.
yeah, I mean, I've seen a few videos trying to interpret the movie, and like they all say that oh, the protagonist Henry um, dies at the end, but I kind of felt like we don't really see that. That's just an
I kind
interpretation.
of I I think there is good like I thought the same thing, and I think there's pretty good reason to assume that.
yeah. I that you mentioned the suicide thing. So when I mentioned the movie was terrifying, Fox basically said the most terrifying aspect of the movie is the pro-suicide message.
Is there how did you get a pro-suicide message? Now I know I went to
Yeah.
asking. Um,
I don't think I wouldn't say like pro suicide, but there are like characters, or there's one character in particular who is like constantly, who's like kind of beckoning Henry to commit suicide, and that would be the lady in a radiator, right? Because she sings, right? She sings in heaven, everything is fine, which is, and she's also like stamping on like these like threads of like flesh, right? Which could be like fetuses. So it it's kind of
Oh,
like she's like this is symbol of death, when in the film.
yeah, I thought that
yeah.
it was his sperm or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, there's a lot of like images of sperm. For example, the beginning sequence is just sperm and a fertilized egg.
Yeah, I guess. But also like the composition of the shots, right? I mean, she's this very very bright figure, and she's sitting in this dark stage. It's almost like she's the light at the end of the tunnel. Though maybe I'm like thinking too deeply into it.
yeah. So I was I normally don't care about spoilers. So I was thinking like maybe to get people's attention, should I have a picture of the baby rather than Henry? Because I don't know, Henry is kind of, I guess he's all right, but I thought maybe, but I think that if you, I think it's better not to see that before going into the movie, not to see
Yeah.
what the baby looks like.
Well,
Yeah. I
folks,
think.
I guess to give you some impression, don't don't watch the film while eating something. That's all I'm gonna
Oh
say.
no, no, no. Yeah, it's. Yeah, like should be the screenshot? Maybe it should just be Henry like looking sad for himself
Uh,
because that basically describes the whole film.
that's what I chose basically. Yeah, that's what I went with
Yeah.
basically. Um, and yeah, so when is this film set? I guess the 1950s, 60s. No, it's well,
Yeah.
came out in the
Uh,
70s. So, um, but in particular the scene, the Eraserhead scenes. I don't know. It kind of felt older for some reason. Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the entire thing wasn't. It didn't exactly feel 70s really.
yeah, it
It
felt.
it felt kind of like sort of like post-war, you know.
Yeah, and thing you have to remember if it feels like '60s, one of Lynch's style in some of the films I've seen is that he likes to do like a '50s Americana type aesthetic.
all right. So where were we in the plot? If we got anywhere. um,
Well, I just introduced the main character. Um, but yes. Anyway, he sort of. Yes, so at the beginning he has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is called Mary, and he they're not very close, or there's something wrong with their relationship. Um, but he goes to her house anyway. I think he has flowers for her. But I don't think they're appreciated, and she just gets kind of she gets upset with him. Oh man, I don't remember the beginning at all, really.
Oh,
But
here's what basically happened. So when he comes in, he goes to Mary, or he goes to Jill. He goes and talks to the parents, and the parents are just like, "Oh, you and Mary are expecting a kid." Peter's just like, "What?" a kid. That has to be a mistake. If
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah,
what
exactly.
basically happened is.
And another thing which I didn't get, and I wanted to ask you guys about is what was that seed that Henry found in his mailbox or something. Um,
I have no idea.
what am
Yeah, I have no idea either.
because I like again I saw like some videos trying to make sense of it, but I don't know. I didn't really buy into their explanations because I didn't just yeah there just isn't enough clues about what it could mean and whatnot. So another comment in the chat. What does it say? David Lynch is one of those. Sorry, is one of the few filmmakers in Hollywood who believe in God. But however, his way of getting close to him is full on weird. He 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 thinks that to get closer to God, you have to get high. Uh,
He's yeah, I guess so. I guess so. He's I know he was he is or was into a transcendental meditation. I don't yeah. I mean, I imagine he probably took drugs at some point. I don't really know much about Lynch, the man, really. But yeah, like he kind of he has like a weird philosophy where he thinks like there's like an underlying like um wave of like energy that underpins everything, and when you transcendently um meditate, you can tap into that energy. Well, you know, I guess it worked for him. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to it.
um,
I think it's
yeah.
just him basically justifying his lucid dreams.
Um, I didn't you say that he used to have some, you know, when we talked about the baby and about how it could have been made, given that obviously it couldn't have been CGI, it was some sort of practical effect. And you said that it may have involved a rabbit skin or something. And also that he used to collect dead animals or something. Oh, am I misremembering now?
Yes, yeah, yeah. He used to. I know. He used to take. He used to take pictures of like dead, like a roadkill or like dead dogs and things. That he sort of finds on the street and stuff. He also has like a figure about um preserving like infected tissues as well. He has a fascination with like infected like alive organic tissues and things. Because he says like if you take it out of context, it can be like a beautiful thing. Um, I don't, you know, I mean, I can't, you know, I could have difficulty seeing that, but you know, he's his own guy, you know.
Yeah, he has his own philosophy.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, I guess I'll just read the plot off of Wikipedia. That might be easier. So the man in the planet is moving levers in his home in space. Honestly, I didn't realize that it was a planet.
no, I didn't either. I thought it was like a meteorite, and like the guy in the
Yeah.
planet was just like a different guy in like his apartment room.
Yeah.
I don't know.
While the head of Henry Spencer floats in the sky, a spermatozoon-like creature emerges from Spencer's mouth, floating into the void. To me, it looked more like he vomited it out into the ground or something. Um,
Hmm.
in an industrial cityscape, Spencer walks home with his groceries. He stopped outside his apartment by the beautiful girl across the hall, and it's weird because for some reason like a beautiful girl across the hall, like it's so like the first letter of every word is in capital letters here. Um, yeah. Anyway, yeah, he does come across um how do you milf, I guess, I don't know, um in his
Yeah, she's
It come across,
it's
I guess I wouldn't say a femme fatale, but it's some kind of like person that's sort of a femme fatale
yeah,
role.
so yeah. I mean, she's like an older woman. She's probably older than Mary. Um, she's single, and she's sort of constantly sort of goading Henry to like help her out, or like let her into his room, or to like sort of sort of do things with her. Like it's pretty obvious that she wants his attention. Um, until she doesn't.
um so she informs him that his girlfriend Mary Etz, apparently Mary's surname is just Etz, as in the letter Etz. um
Yeah.
his girlfriend Mary Etz has invited him to dinner with her family. Spencer leaves his groceries in his apartment, which is filled with piles of dirt and dead vegetation. Um, that night, and yeah, yeah, he also steps in a puddle, and it doesn't make any sound for some reason. That night, Spencer visits Mary's home, conversing awkwardly with her mother. At the dinner table.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should talk a bit more freely about one of the worst interactions with in-laws ever put to screen.
Which is
So,
borderline sexual harassment.
yeah, well, I mean, like literal sexual harassment. I mean, so
Yeah,
uh, so yeah, so where Henry sort of comes in, um, and it's just like so like uncomfortable. His girlfriend can't really talk to him. He doesn't really know what to say. Um, Mary's like um father um is is sort of directing everything, and he has sort of mentioned that it was it was his hands that sort of built this place, and how he saw the neighborhood go to hell, um, which might be literal. Yeah, and he tries to show Henry his like knees, and like how like bad his knees are, because of all the manual work he's done, but his wife tells him not to do that. and then and then and then we sort of cut to the kitchen, where it's presumably like Mary's grandmother. Um, she's she seems like kind of like brain dead. Um, and she's just sort of sitting there. Um, but Mary's mum insists on sort of making her help out. So she puts like the salad bowl in front of her, and then she controls her arms to like mix the salad up and things, and then she prepares the rest of the foods in a kind of very sort of grim looking kitchen area. Um, but like that's not the weird part. I mean, this is all like fairly normal. It's just like they're kind of a little bit weird, but they're also incredibly like destitute. Everything is just so depressing. But then it comes to the actual serving of food, and And even though everyone has like their own like individual like smaller chickens, which is odd because chicken generally isn't that size. I mean, they were like these like full chickens, but they were like miniature. So like obviously something's happened. But anyway, Mary's dad tells Henry to cook the chicken, and he goes to cook the chicken, but when he sort of pierces it, like all this black goo comes out of the chicken, and it also like starts moving around.
Yeah, it's very obvious that it's stop motion animation, but so it yeah
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah
And then Mary's mother starts just like crying and wailing, which kind of like derails everything. um and then man, it's like not much really happens, but a lot kind of does, and it's kind of difficult to explain. um but anyway, the meeting escalates to the point where the mother calls away Henry to like another room, and she notifies Henry that there's a baby, and it's in the hospital, and also that the baby is a little early.
um
um
so the scene with the grandmother was kind of a little bit funny. I think that the mother also gives the grandmother a cigarette as well, if I'm not mistaken, at some point.
yes, she does.
Yes.
And like, but the grandmother is basically paralyzed, so she doesn't want to move or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's just like paralyzed.
yeah, and there's others, I guess, odd stuff like there's a female dog, um, and puppies. Um,
Oh yeah.
but
Like
yeah, trying to get milk out of it, but like it's kind of creepy and weird. Um, and what else weird happens in that scene? Well,
well yeah
Well,
the
the whole baby at the end is just
yeah, but this is also sort of during this time, Mary's mother like decides to like try and like kiss Henry. Henry doesn't reciprocate, and it just sort of ends up with like his mother in law like licking his face. And yeah, it's just very strange and very weird. um
yeah, and the, I c- like and before that, there was the father asking Henry if you know, or like if you know anything, and Henry replies that he doesn't know anything about anything. Or, and then
no,
the father just keeps smiling for no reason. Uh,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think yeah, obviously there's like real subtext. I mean, there's you can kind of see all these fears of like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen when like I meet the in-laws? It's like, am I am I gonna be sort of like will I be able to deal with the father? You know, will the mother like be like weird with me? Like
will the
how
mother
like
kiss me?
how's the yeah like how's the foods like gonna taste? Like will I be able to be like polite enough in this situation? You know, like will they like me?
And
You know,
everything goes wrong in this case. Yeah,
yes, yeah, like everything that like possibly could like
and couldn't go wrong. Like everything that could and couldn't go wrong goes wrong. Uh, Yeah.
Even like the pets. There's like something like going on there as well.
Um, yeah, I asked Fox, how does Eraserhead have a pro-suicide message, and
All right.
he replied that the lady in the heater of the heater is that um, she's nice and sweet but awful looking.
Yeah.
It symbolizes the character seeing his kid as a monstrous imposition and wanting to and hero. By and hero he means killing himself. Um, yeah, I guess the character does take that choice, and I don't know, like it's pretty bleak because I don't know, like I what the hell else was he supposed to do at that point? I mean, the only thing that are wrong with Henry did, I guess, was killing the baby, of course.
Yeah.
And before that, cheating. But
Y-
that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of like everything. He kind of he tries his best, but the pressure of the situation gets to him in the end.
Not only
Um,
that, the girlfriend halfway through is just like, "Oh, I can't take this," and just leave.
yeah, exactly. Literally like the worst mother ever, the worst wife ever as well. Like also doesn't really doesn't do anything. Like if anything, she just sort of like hinders Henry really with like how she doesn't really want anything to do with him or the child, and he's just sort of left on his own.
yeah. So okay, I don't think that the family in and of themselves represent anything really, other than like what you said, that like it's the idea of like how uncomfortable it can be to go and meet your girlfriend's parents or something. I because again, in those videos that I watched, I saw them try to make some sort of social commentary beyond that about society and whatnot. I didn't really see it. So like, do you think that the things which are the weird things which are happening are actually happening, or I mean, it doesn't really matter, but still, I'm asking anyway. Like, do you think that the stuff which happens actually happens? So it's like for example, the whole Eraserhead section kind of
I
seems
don't
like a
think.
dream.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's more symbolic.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it's symbolizing, but I think that is a dream, and the other stuff isn't. Um, is actually going on. Um,
Yeah, the baby, for example, is probably real.
yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, because
Well, you know, sort of a real in the film sense. I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
Um, yeah, we are never giving any explanation about what the baby is, or anything like that.
No,
That
no.
wouldn't
You
be
know,
Lynch.
yeah, you know, I just think the baby is just like the like personification of like sort of every fear you could have about like having a baby. It's like is the child going to be like deformed? Will we have like difficulty feeding it? Like will the kid get sick? Like will like is the kid gonna like die like in our care, you
Am
know.
I going to kill it? Uh,
Yeah. Also, you know, is the is the baby gonna like cry all night and like keep us up? You know,
yeah.
it's just like everything. You know.
Is the mother just going to run away?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Henry, like, I mean, the film is basically just a a series of everything going wrong for Henry. I don't I don't really think you could have like a worse luck.
Yeah, it's basically Henry being a cosmic plaything for I don't know what kind of thing it is. Probably David Lynch's
Yeah.
filmmaking.
When asked about how they made the baby for the film, um, Lynch apparently replied stuff like it was born nearby, or maybe it was found, uh, stuff like
Oh
that.
my god. I know, like
Uh,
it's just so creepy when yeah, it's the best not to think about it too much.
Um, okay. Um, Anything else to say really? Other than I don't because I don't. Okay, I guess yeah. It's about um yeah the stuff which we talked about and it's good for that. But I I I don't know. I don't know if I will really rewatch this movie that much. How have you guys
Yeah.
felt like rewatching it much?
Well,
not this film in particular, but some of his later films. Oh, absolutely. In
yeah.
fact, one film I really love of his that was my favorite was Mulholland Drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't seen that film, but yeah, I plan to at some point. But
Oh,
yeah,
it's great.
I rewatched this film and for this discussion, so I knew what I was talking about somewhat. Uh, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really say that I would have gone out of my way normally to rewatch it because it it's quite a straightforward film and it does also stick with you. Um, I mean, it's sort of too vague where you feel like if I rewatch it, there'll be more stuff I pick up on. It kind of gives you the impression that yeah, like I just have to watch this once and I kind of get everything that Lynch wanted me to get, you know, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's not like there was like hidden codes or something, or like there was like character development um happening for a like big reveal later. You know, it's kind of straightforward, really, in its vagueness.
Yeah,
Um, how would you rate it, Fahrenheit?
It's kind of difficult to rate. I'll give it like a I'll give it a 8 out of 10. And for its creativity, its originality.
Uh, I think I'll give it a 7
yeah, I would say 7.
because like there's a lot of weird stuff in it. Um, and I get the message, but there's no resolution to it. Like, okay, so you are afraid. Okay, kill yourself. Because that's obviously not what the movie is saying. Because it's not really saying anything about it. Really.
In
Yeah,
heaven,
yeah,
everything is fine. Yeah, though in his defense, I mean, I don't think that kid really would have lasted very long. It was kind of like those are bandages like were like were like part of it. Like when he when he when he undid the bandages and it was like bleeding out and like it was like struggling to breathe and, like in pain.
yeah. I
I'm I'm like pretty sure like it is like somewhat justified to put it out of its misery. I mean, it was also like barely even human. I mean,
Yeah, I think the cheapest horror moment came right after Henry stabbed it. You know when the light started going off and the the baby's face,
yeah,
I guess, started to appear here and there and everywhere. a larger size. Um, yeah,
Yeah, but there was also I think it kind of it did have some like symbolic meaning, to it. But I thought like other stuff like actually was like pretty interesting. Like all this like pus comes out, like just like comes out of the baby, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Um, to the point where it's like something ain't right here, guys.
I, I mean something wasn't
um,
right all along. But there's no
no,
there's no explanation. So um, yeah,
no, but I think like the giant baby head is just to show like how much sort of control it had over him in a way, like his life was just sort of dedicated to looking after his kid. Like he couldn't really do anything else.
Yeah, he
Um,
was basically a prisoner.
yeah,
yeah. But then I don't know. Later on, in that I guess it's a dream sequence, his head pops off, and inside his head there's another one of those. There's a face which sort of looks like the baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, which again, I guess you could make sense of it somehow, symbolically. Um, yeah. So another thing which I was confused and about was when the baby got sick suddenly. Um,
yeah. Oh, you are sick.
yes. But I mean they quickly just cut off back to the baby being okay. So I I was because I thought that the baby had died or something, but no. Um, it had not died. Um, what else to talk about? I guess we could talk about what some of the things you think represent, for example, the isn't there vegetation or something inside his room at the start? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, there is.
Yeah,
There's like this like plant that is sort of like not in a pot, and the soil and like its roots are just sort of like scattered, like I just sort of like heaped up on like a sideboard, and it's just sort of there. Lots of shots are spent like lingering on this plant. Um, I don't know why. And the plant also appears later in one of like the radiator scenes on the stage before he sort of turns into, well, sort of before his head falls off, and then like this like plant starts bleeding. Then like the blood from the plant like shrouds his like head on the floor. I don't really know what it means. Um,
yeah. I guess one positive thing which can be said about this movie is that it doesn't really try to be preachy about anything really. Um,
no, I mean, as Henry is very relatable for for I
yeah,
mean,
yes.
I would probably sort of act in a similar way if I was like in that world, sort of in those situations. It's like,
Yeah, it's
what
kind
do
of
you even
like one of
do?
those characters that you're kind of like everyone else is fucking weird, and he's just like the normal one that you kind of grab onto and just like, okay, he's the one I can follow.
so in the chat, somebody's asking, well, the same person is asking whether we would do a video on Dracula 1992. Do you know anything about this movie?
I mean, I know it's a bad movie where it's Keanu Reeves performing I would say the best quote unquote British accent.
Uh,
But to be honest, I wouldn't mind doing a discussion on a cheesy movie.
I see. I guess we'll see. Um, and he goes on to say, you all are the only people who can go on about one movie for hours, and that's what I like about you all. Okay.
Well.
I know so much about hours. I mean,
I
depending
think
on
I think we'll be lucky to reach the 2 hour mark with this one,
yeah.
or even the
It'll,
hour mark.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
getting there. We're getting there. We're at like 48 minutes, I think.
yeah. 50 minutes.
Oh, 50. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, yeah, we just have to drag this out for 10 more minutes, and it would look like we've actually got something to say. Uh,
Yeah, I guess. What did you
oh
think?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I wanted to talk about the lady across the hall for a moment because she kind of has a change in attitude towards Henry in the film, and she has this change because because in the film, as I said, she's constantly like goading him to become more involved with her, right? Um, but then it gets to a point where Henry like actually invites her into his apartment after his wife leaves wife leaves Mary, um and he ends up cheating on Mary basically, um with her, and they descend into like a pit of goo or a porridge. I'm not quite sure what it is. um but after that, like after but no,
Somebody
during then she like
somebody said
looks over
that it's semen.
and oh right, okay. Well, whatever. I don't know, like maybe I don't know. It's I guess so.
Could be anything.
But well, I don't know. But as they're like kissing, she like looks over to the baby, and she seems like a little bit bothered by the fact that like the baby's there. Um,
Who
but
wouldn't
so
be?
anyway, well, yeah, exactly. But later on, Henry is looking out of his apartment. Once his alone again with the child, and she's sort of coming back to her apartment room, but this time she has like another man with her, and they're probably gonna do some like intercourse. I don't know, but when when she looks at Henry, all she can see is the baby. Like he has he has like a baby's head for that one shot, which kind of shows that having a child is a turn off for the cougar across the way. So, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Um, how I don't know how
I
it how it sort of changes your like relationships with other people, and however like awful they might be.
Yeah, I guess if you're going again to the with the it's all about your fears thing. I guess it's you will be less popular with women or something after you have kids or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah, yeah. It's like so what if I have this like kids, but then my wife leaves me, and I want to find like a like replacement to like help me look after the kids, but I can't now. So I'm just like screwed because I have a kid now, and like no woman is going, and like no a woman is going to want me because I've like a kid. Again, like it's just like more of this like paranoia.
Well, only that, it's also the fact that from what it is implied that they weren't really so much as a relationship. It was just like with her and the kid was basically a one night stand. So they
Yeah.
didn't really like each other. It's just like, oh,
Yeah, but I guess it's like the baby is disgusting to her, so I don't know, like maybe she thinks like, will I also have a baby like that if I get together with him or something?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Um, yeah. So yeah, the baby's also kind of an asshole, um, I guess. Uh,
Well, you know,
but then again,
it's
that's
a
how
baby.
babies. It's a baby, so yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
which
though I will say I don't like a. Do you like babies like that young? Like I don't know, like refuse to eat foods. I don't know.
yeah, and also I guess the baby laughs at him when the after
Yes.
the woman rejects him to go with this creep. Um,
Oh my
because,
god.
yeah, um, yeah, and it's a really creepy guy too. That the woman next door uh, goes to sleep with.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it is. It is.
so that means that she finds him more disgusting, uh, even than this disgusting man, which is an insult, I guess, on top of being rejected, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
uh,
This guy is like now more desirable than you are, and and he's just this creep.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's all the baby's fault or something, I guess. And also
yeah,
it's
or maybe maybe Harry no, sorry, Henry didn't perform all that well.
I mean, he tried. I mean, it was a weird experience, I guess, sinking
Yeah,
into that thing. Y-
yeah. He
yeah,
got he got oh god, I can't speak. I've now lost the ability to speak. Yes, he got a hot tub installed in his room on a very short notice.
yeah,
yeah,
it's set to the setting of it's a it's a very hot tub. Let's put it that
yeah.
way.
And I guess there's also smaller stuff. I guess, like for example, when he's sleeping with his wife, and the wife keeps on just moving around, and then he wakes up and he finds giant sperms, which are supposedly his own, uh, or something, in the bed sheets.
Yeah,
Uh,
it it's odd, but they like it's kind of difficult. Like, it's like these like big like eel um chunks of like eel shaped chunks of meat that he's pulling out. They're kind of like halfway between like a sperm and like a kind of like a fetus, sort of like early stages, and he's like throwing them like against the wall, and it's like so disgusting because like he's finding like all this like flesh like sort of like wrapped around her, and he's like putting them like it's kind of it's also very sort of interestingly shot because it feels like he's like tugging them out of her, um and he's doing that, and then he's throwing them against the wall,
I
and
ca-
then they're just sort of like they're like wet and like fleshy, and like and like a pus comes out of them.
yeah, I think it's kind of to imply that the reason why the baby's weird is because he's weird. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
think I think there are like lots of yeah. Actually, no. I think the other the other tell of that is in like the radiator scene where he like where his head comes off because like the head that replaces his is like the head of the baby, so that might be like a sign that he like believes or he knows that like he's the one that has like produced this like creature, and so there's like something like wrong with him. um
I mean, that's also why the woman also sees
yeah,
his
yeah.
face as the baby's face. Um, yeah, I think we didn't really explain, but basically the baby is deformed. So I don't think he actually said that. So uh,
Yeah,
okay,
well, we weren't saying like nice things about it,
so
and
I think
you
people
know,
will get it. So
yeah, yeah.
we
I
are,
mean, like to describe the baby, it's like it's got like a lamb's head, maybe, but it's got like a very long neck. Um, its body is like this like egg, um, but it doesn't really have like a body. It doesn't have any arms or legs. Um, and its like entire bottom half, like where its body is just covered in bandages. And when you take off the bandages, like it dies because the bandages are like part of it.
yeah,
So yeah, it's like not good. It doesn't have like any hair either. It's also like kind of like quite rubbery, like its skin, and glossy, as well. It's very it it's not good.
yeah, and we somehow reached the 1 hour mark. Now,
We
uh,
did it.
yeah, now, dear listeners, you have to know, given that we have some today for some reason, you have to know that we did before doing this stream, we did a 3 hour or something, a D&D game. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, yes. We've had a stern New Zealander to put up with for the past 3 hours. So we're all like a little bit tired from that experience. But yeah,
so
it was good.
he's asking in the chat. They're asking whether we could do a video on Akira
I want
Kurosawa's
yeah, I
12
want
life.
I want if Ash is still listening, I want him to give us like one recommendation to do, and just to write it in the comments, and we'll do it probably.
Yeah, I think from the ones that he has posted, I think probably the best one is the one by Kurosawa, because I haven't seen a single Kurosawa film. So maybe that's something you could do.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
wouldn't
Also,
mind.
Akira's pretty sick as well. So yeah, I'll be happy to do Akira.
Yep. And on that note, shall we end it? Unless you have any final thoughts.
Uh, I think I've exhausted pretty much what the whole film is about. I don't know about you two.
How
Yeah, no,
about
it's fine. It's fine. I think it's better. I think it's best keeping it short and sweet. Um,
an hour long is short by our standards. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the end of it.